Hi everyone and welcome to the June release video. My name is Barbara, I'm here today with Jacob and we're excited to show you what's new in Qonic. So this month we focused on giving you more control and more clarity, especially when it comes to structuring your data and your models right from the start. So let's start with the basics, setting up a new project. One of the first decisions you'll make is how to manage your libraries. Is it shared across the whole project or is it model specific?
Yes, so Qonic makes a distinction between model-specific libraries and project libraries. Basically, the idea is if you bring in models into Qonic, let's say an IFC file or a Revit file, this model contains information like materials, locations, types, and so on. These can be either stored in a model-specific library, which is tied to the model, or it can be defined in a library shared across your models. You now have a bit more control over this as a user, so you can choose to import data from models into a shared library or a project library in the project preferences as a project owner. So if I go to my project preferences here, I can choose to, for example, make sure all my materials are put in a shared library instead of a model-specific library. Maybe also my locations, spatial locations. I'll just select this location library here, which is a shared project library, meaning all of the different materials and locations in this project from different models will be put in one single library. So this means if I now upload a model, let's say for instance this IFC file here, that the materials and locations defined in this model will be put into this one single shared library. Actually, let me also already upload these other two IFC files. So there I have three separate IFC files of some concrete floors in my model.
Okay, while we wait for the models to upload, this is usually where things get tricky in the real project, because you've got multiple teams, teams are uploading different models with different naming conventions. That's why I'm really excited about project level libraries, because they help create structure and consistency from the very start. Why would you isolate libraries per team or go to fully project-wide?
Yeah, well, it depends on the use case. In this particular use case, I think it makes sense to have a merged or a shared library, because these are clearly models by the same party, by the same, in this case, contractor, for the same building, the same project. So it kind of makes sense to have this as a holistic shared library. But there may be cases where you want to have these libraries separate. For example, if you have different contractors who have their own personal IP, their own libraries that they do not want to share with other people necessarily, or don't want other people to interfere with those libraries, you can make sure that these libraries remain separate, so they retain full control over these libraries. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. I've uploaded these three models here. I will open them in the Qonic model environment to show you what that actually looks like in terms of library management here. So I can see I have indeed three models open, one model per floor in this case. And if I check out the libraries here, I can see, for example, in the material library, I have indeed only one material library. It's a shared one, and it contains, in this case, 6 different materials across these 3 models. So for example, the concrete here, indeed I have in each model I have some concrete elements, in each model some steel elements and so on. This also means if I would now make a change to one of these library items, for example, let's take a look at this steel with 9,700 elements selected here. Looks like it's some reinforcements bars. Maybe I'll just rename this library item to, let's call it reinforcement steel to be a bit more clear. This change will now be made across those 3 models because they're still pointing to the same single library element. Same goes for example, locations. I can see that I have one location library with one site, one building, and 3 different floors within this one building. If I would change the name of my building, '65 building for instance, and I will see this indeed also reflected across all my 3 models because, again, they're still pointing to the same single library item.
Okay, it's maybe subtle, but I think it's very powerful because a consistent library approach avoids duplicate types, but you can also make changes across the models. As your project fills up with models, navigating between them can become a challenge. That's why we are introducing the new multi-model overview. It's one central place to manage them all.
Yes, indeed. So we've introduced a new interface element here in the browse panel, basically showing you all the currently opened models with some control about which one is currently the active model, so I can change my currently active model to any of the open models if I have the necessary access rights, of course. And there's also this new button here, which says create new model. So basically this can create a new empty model. I'll just call this concrete floor slabs. Give it a discipline, some access rights. And so basically a new model is now created in my project. The model is currently empty, but I can now use this new model to start creating some new geometry from scratch or start moving things around within my models. So for example, in this case, let me just select everything. I'll just select all 3 of the contents of all 3 models, and using the inspect panel, I will just move everything from these 3 models into this one newly created model here. So I'll just move everything to these concrete floor slabs model. Okay, so all of these objects are now moved to this one concrete floor slabs model. Actually, if I close this session and go back to the dashboard, you will see indeed that there is now one new model created a couple minutes ago, and these 3 existing models, which I uploaded about 7 minutes ago, I will actually just get rid of them. I don't need them anymore because I've moved everything from these 3 models to this one single model.
Okay, now you're showing to merge models together, but I assume you can also split up models?
Yeah, exactly. So you can merge models, split models, just shuffle things around within your model structure. Basically, you can move any object to any model, again, of course, if you have the necessary access rights.
We're closing with a consistency update. The browsing and reporting panels now offer a unified and consistent experience.
Yes, indeed. So the configuration editor is now unified across the browse panel and the report panel. So you'll see here the exact same interface for these presets or configurations. Meaning, for example, if I create a configuration, let's say I create a configuration to show me all the materials or group by material, and I save this configuration here, you'll see that this configuration is now also available in my report panel. The other way around works as well. So if I create the configuration here or edit the configuration, it will be available in the browse panel as well. So let's say, for example, I want to see only the concrete objects and group them by concrete quality or concrete class. You'll see it's now also available here. So that just makes it a bit more consistent and a bit more user-friendly.
Okay, thank you, Jacob, for the clear walkthrough. I hope it gave everyone a solid understanding of how these new features work in real projects. That's all from us this month, but it's far from the end, of course, because our team is already hard at work on many exciting updates. We'll keep releasing improvements even throughout the summer. If you have any ideas of features you'd like to see, please send us your wish list. So the update is already live. Head over to app.qonic.com to upload your own, is it a Revit, IFC or SketchUp file, and explore everything that's new. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more fresh updates next month. Bye bye.